Alright, hello techies, and welcome to another video. Um, I'm not sure if you guys were expecting more Bad North, but I do want to branch out because I don't want to be bringing you guys always the same content. Um, so, I decided, at the behest of my girlfriend, to make a Slay the Spire video. And we will be starting on a completely empty slot. I will be calling it after my channel, which you may have noticed has a brand new name. So it will be called Tech Guy Gaming. There we go. I was failing to type that for a minute, but yeah, there we go. So we will be starting a brand new saves file on Slay the Spire, just like we did on Bad North. And for a while, I will probably just be alternating these two. Um, if there is another video that you would like to see or another game that you'd like to see, just let me know. I would honestly love some multiplayer recommendations. I do love talking to people while I play. So I'm thinking that these Slay the Spire videos will probably be a little longer than the Bad North ones. They will likely be the entirety of a run. I am really hoping that the audio this time is a better balance. I did turn up Slay the Spire a bit, and everything looks good on my end, so if you guys can please just let me know down in the comments, that would be great. So without any further ado, let's get into it. And obviously, because it's a brand new character, you need to complete a ironclad run in order to unlock anything else. So we will be starting with the ironclad. Now, the ironclad is a very powerful character because this artifact that you start with, each character gets their own version of it. Not necessarily of this one in particular, but their own version of a starting artifact. So with the ironclad in particular, you get the Burning Blood artifact, which means you can essentially trade 6 HP for free or for nothing. I think on this run, we will prioritize deck upgrades and hopefully get some cool cards and see where the build goes. I've played the game before, but because it's a new file, it's giving me the tutorial. Feel free to go back and pause that if you want to read it. And I will do my best to play as well as I can. So if I play this properly, we will get out of here with only 1 damage. I do apologize if the turns go a little quicker. I will try to slow down and explain what I'm doing. These are very early enemies, and the play against them is going to be almost identical in every video of this that I upload. I will take a Thunderclap because that is a very good card. And like I said, I think we are going to prioritize upgrades, but we will do so in the path of least resistance, which will be going through a couple question marks, because I do feel like this will be the better option. Now, each of these events I will read out fully, so let's start. We meet again. A cheery, disheveled fellow approaches you gleefully. You do not know this man. It's me, Ranwind. Have any goods for me today? The usual? A fellow like me can't make it alone, you know. You eye him suspiciously and consider your options. Now I am going to give him 53 gold and get a relic because relics are very powerful in this game. Like, for existence, the Preserved Insect, which means that elite enemies will have 25% less HP. So an elite enemy is any enemy with this horn symbol. You can see it on the legend here. They also drop relics when defeated, so getting this before encountering a single elite is very, very useful. Now, this is a shop, and it sometimes appears in question marks. I'm not going to buy anything from it because none of these things interest me. However, I will point out that Rupture is a very good card in specific builds because you can trade HP for strength, which means you can do more damage. It's essentially a rushdown build. Although, funnily enough, rushdown is the name of a different card for a different character. So, these cards that I have are very basic at the moment. The only one that's altered from the beginning deck, sorry, hit the wrong button there. The only one that's altered from the beginning deck is Thunderclap, but it does the same effect, or it hits all enemies and applies one vulnerable. So it does half of the effect of Bash, but on all enemies. And it's half the cost as well. When an enemy is vulnerable, they take 50% more damage from all attacks. That's why you will see me use Bash when it does show up, or you will see me use a block in certain situations like this, where I also do have Thunderclap, because that way I will heal back up to full at the end of this encounter. Now, each turn, a status effect will wear off, unless it's a permanent one like Strength. There are specific modifiers that need to be in place for that one to wear off. So, as you can see, my strikes typically do 6 damage, but they do 9 if I use them while the enemy is vulnerable. And that will neatly take care of the cultist. Now, Distilled Chaos is one of my favorite potions. You just need to make sure that you don't use it at a bad spot. Rampage is also a very, very useful card because in longer fights, like boss fights or elite fights, it will become very powerful. So this Jaw Worm is going to hit me for 11, so I will block once, and I will take 6 damage, and hopefully he is not going to... okay, he's going to use a buff and enter a defensive stance. So I am going to make him vulnerable and attack him. And then I will actually drink Distilled Chaos. Oh, it used Thunderclap again when it shuffled everything back in, which was just enough damage to get rid of the Jawworm. Now, sadly, I did have to use my Distilled Chaos there. However, I did not want to take more damage. I think we'll take a Cleave here. Now, a lot of players will try to go for thin decks in this game. I do understand that playstyle. A very thin and consistent deck is a good way to build. However, I don't try to thin out my deck as often as I can. I will simply skip cards if they hold no interest to me or the build that I'm making. Now, in this case, I'm not going to race this enemy because I don't want to waste my health, as I stated. And he is now about to enter a defensive stance, which is the perfect time because I have just enough damage to take him out. And we got a duplication potion, which means that when I drink it, my next card will be played twice in that turn. None of these cards interest me, so we're going to skip. And then we get another campfire, and since we are still at full health, we will be able to upgrade again. We are going to upgrade Thunderclap just so it does more damage, because more damage is always useful. And in this chest, we get a strawberry. Probably the most boring of the relic categories is the food relics, because they don't do much other than give you more max health. Now, this is the Lagavulin, and you can see the preserved insect already doing the work there, so it's down from 110 to 82. Now, I don't have any of the cards that I'd want to start this encounter, so I'm just going to end my turn and let the Lagavulin sleep. You actually do get 3 turns for this. Now, these cards are perfect for this, so I'm going to use Thunderclap to make him vulnerable, and then I will use Rampage and Cleave. And that way we started with a clean 23 damage after his block was removed. And this enemy we are actually going to race a bit because the Lagavulin gets very strong very quickly if you leave him alive. So as much as I would like to preserve my health, we are going to opt for damage over health in this situation. Every time you play 10 attacks, gain an energy. So that will actually persist between battles, but I will not be making that an integral part of the build. It's just a nice little bonus. Another Rampage, always good, but actually I think I'll take Burning Pact because it will allow me to exhaust cards, which means that I can essentially get rid of them for 1 combat. Oh, I really wish I had enough money for the bomb, but... Ooh. This could be very interesting. We could do Feel No Pain with the Pact. Or we can remove a card. I think we're going to remove a card here. And we're going to remove Bash because it is doing the least amount of work and is not very useful in the current build. And since we can still afford it, I will take the Feel No Pain, just as a nice little bonus, because powers are nice, because once you play them, they don't stay in your deck during a match. We'll remove a card here. We'll remove a normal strike, just because they have less to give. And then, I don't see the need to rest yet, so we won't. We will, however, upgrade Feel No Pain just for that extra little bonus. It's not like we have an exhaust build, but it's never a bad idea to have the cards ready for it. In this situation, I think I will again go for a remove. I know I was saying I wouldn't prioritize these, and I know that's kind of what it looks like I'm doing. But, like I said, these strikes aren't really doing much for us. So let's get rid of them, and let's upgrade Cleave, because it hits all enemies, and is very good for wide area control. Now, this boss is the Guardian. His gimmick is that when you do enough damage for this mode shift down here to reach 0, he will shift into a defensive stance, at which point he will put thorns on himself and always do the same 3 attacks. Now, I am going to start with Rampage and Strike, and then I will end my turn. I know I could have played Burning Pact there, but I really didn't want to get rid of the defense yet. We're going to drink the skill potion here and see what we get. We'll take Rage and play that, because that way every time we play an attack card this turn, which we will drink our duplication potion next, and then we will play Thunderclap, so it gets played twice, so that we get the vulnerable for 2 turns. And then we will use that to send him into defense, so that we did not need to take the 32 attack, or the 32 damage from his attack. Now, it was a waste of Rage, but Rage is now in my discard pile, and if we can find that, to be added to the deck permanently, that would be very useful. Um, so yes, this is what I meant. He will now have the Sharp Hide ability. So this Sharp Hide ability will do 3 damage anytime I attack, and his attacks will still happen. So he will always do 9 damage the first time, and then he will do a double strike, which I think is 8 damage. Might be less. I was playing on higher ascensions for a while. So in this case, we will play 2 defenses, and then we will play a Thunderclap. We will take a couple damage, but once the boss is defeated, you will heal back up to full, especially on these lower ascensions. Now that is subject to change once we get to higher ascensions, but we aren't there yet, so... We will exhaust the defend card here, just to see, because we still got 4 defense from Feel No Pain. But we didn't get enough defense for me to warrant not attacking. So bosses are some of the few enemies you will see me kind of waste my health on, and that's because of the full heal. I will use that to my benefit if I can. And in this situation, we will use Thunderclap, and then we will use 2 defenses, so we only take 10 damage. And we only have a total of 11 cards in our draw pile currently, so that's not a bad thing. We will play Rampage, because Rampage is always useful. And you can see we got another energy from the nunchucks there, because we have played 10 total attacks. So the reason I played that strike first is because before he enters, or before his mode shift reaches 0, I will try to get it as close to 0 as I can before doing an attack that will send it over the edge. So instead of playing Cleave and then the strike, I played the strike and then Cleave, because that way I get more damage from the Cleave when I use it. Hope that explanation is good. I'm really not sure. You know, it's kind of surreal what I'm doing right now, because I'm talking into a microphone while playing a video game, and just people can randomly go and listen to me on the internet for the rest of my life now. Sorry, never mind the existential crisis, but it is a little disconcerting in a way. Now, those are the cards we want to be getting rid of with Burning Pact if we can. We want to be getting rid of Common Strikes, so that way we can pull Rampage more often, and if we pull Rampage more often, it does more damage. Now again, another 16, and I was right actually, it is, the double hit is 8, and then it will always be 5 times 4 here. Weakens are also very good against this boss, but I don't believe I have access to any of those yet. We will block 15 damage. And there's a 50-50 chance we draw a Rampage. We didn't draw Rampage, but we're gonna exhaust the strike. Hey, we drew Rampage and Thunderclap. Perfect. Which means he will take 60 damage, which is enough to take him out. And now we get guaranteed rare card after you beat a boss. If I hit skip here, you'll see it's always a gold pack. I feel like Juggernaut could be very good. Corruption could lean into the exhaust build we were doing. We will probably take Juggernaut here, just because I don't want to lose all of my defense cards right away. So let's see. Mark of Pain, Astrolab, or Philosopher's Stone. Now, the Philosopher's Stone seems really good. However, there are a lot of enemies with multi-hits where one strength will make all the difference between if you live or die. This could also be good. However, it does shuffle 2 cards into your deck that you can't really deal with. But in our situation, it's actually not that bad because we have Burning Pact. So we can trade those for extra draws. And that way we're also not sacrificing any utility from the deck. Now, I think we will go up this way and we will follow the question marks because it gives us chance of relics up to this first elite. Now, depending on how well this first elite goes, I may go for the extra fights and then heal at this campfire. If it doesn't go well, I'll go to this campfire and we'll take the alternate route up to this one. But either way, it starts at the beginning. See, this is what I mean by 1 extra strength. He'd be doing 6 times 2 instead of 5 times 2, which is a very, very large difference. Because 6 times 2 I wouldn't be able to block fully. 5 times 2 I was able to block and I did 10 damage. Now, he has a unique ability. His negative effect that he's about to cast is called Hex. So whenever I play a non-attack card, he will shuffle a Dazed into my discard pile. Now, Dazed is a interesting card because when you receive a Dazed, so when I play something like this, I'll receive a Dazed. Now, you'll see it has the Unplayable and the Ethereal trait. Ethereal means that if it's not played at the end of your turn, it will be exhausted. And since it's unplayable, it will always be exhausted at the end of your turn. The only issue with Dazed, really, is that it is just a dead draw, so when you get it, you don't get anything from it. However, in this situation, I can kind of abuse that because I gain block every time a card is exhausted. So his one unique trait isn't very good against me at this current build. Now, don't get me wrong, it can definitely mess with your build if you aren't prepared for it, but it's usually fine if you just play around it. He does start to hit harder in higher difficulties, or if you just leave him alive for too long. Now, here's an interesting one, because it's very good in builds where you sacrifice your own health, but it's not so good in builds where you're trying to preserve that health. However, this, on the other hand, is always going to be 10 block, which is better than a defend, or it's going to be 4 block. And because we do damage when we block, I will be taking the Ghostly Armor because it will never be a dead draw. Even if we get it, it will... Well, we're not going to desecrate it. There's no point to taking Decay. Although I guess technically we could use it to feed Burning Pact. It's an interesting build. Curse build built around exhaustion. We'll sacrifice our health here to the Forgotten Altar, and we'll gain 5 max HP. Now, these question marks events do have a chance of just being monster fights outright. We could desecrate the Golden Shrine, but no, I think we'll just pray to it, and we'll get 100 gold. You're not going to see me take curses unless I'm going for a very curse-specific build, and this is what I mean. So we are on a question mark, and we got just a normal fight, which kind of sucks. I don't like this fight. I don't have a particular hatred for this fight, it's just not my favorite. But that's mostly because it's a damage check. If you can't do enough damage in 4 turns to take them both out, they run away with your money. Nobody likes it when somebody tries to run away with your money. Oh, this gives 4 plated armor, so at the end of your turn you will get 4 block. If you are hit and have no defense, 1 plated armor will be taken away. It will not negate the attack, it'll just be reduced by 1. Like I said, this is a damage check, so this is also one of the few situations where I will actually sacrifice my health, because I'm already low, so I'm planning to rest at a campfire. But this is what I mean. So on turn 3, they both defend, and then on turn 4, if you can't kill them through their defense, they will use a smoke bomb and escape the fight. So he has 7 health and has 11 defense. I think I can break through that. I can. But if I didn't draw Rampage that turn, he would have gotten away with 30 gold. Which is just irritating, more than anything. There was nothing interesting here, so I just skipped it. I apologize. Whirlwind uses the amount of energy that you have, so the X cost is however much you have when you play it, and it will do that damage. It's very good in builds that give you lots of energy or that can go infinite. Perfected Strike does more damage for each strike in your deck, and for each attack containing the word strike. So things like Pommel Strike, Perfected Strike actually does stack on itself, but seeing as we only have 3, it's not really worth it. And then Warcry... Actually, Warcry is not a bad idea, so I'm glad I went back there. Because Warcry has the exhaust, it doesn't... it will contribute to Feel No Pain, and it will contribute to Juggernaut if I have Feel No Pain. But it also does not really make the deck any larger or less consistent. It just gives a little more option. This is what I was talking about by any cards containing the word strike, Pommel Strike, right here. I wish I had the money for ice cream, because ice cream is very useful. This is very good, but we aren't gonna buy it because it's also very bad. So I wasn't willing to give enemies 1 static strength. This would give them strength every turn. I will, however, take Pen Nip, because there's no downside to Pen Nip. It operates very similarly to Nunchaku, so every 10th attack, it will deal double damage. Now, I won't play around it unless I have, like, the perfect play, but it's a nice bonus. And I will remove a Defend, since we added a Ghostly Armor. Oh. Oops, I went to the wrong path. I meant to go to the Elite. I suppose we'll go to this Elite instead. Yeah, we can go to that Elite instead. I did mean to go to this one, though. We will rest here. That way we don't need to rest at one of the future campfires. And we'll be able to smith up at this one. Now, let's see here. We will use Warcry. And put a Defend back on top. And then... Ah, what a waste. We had basically none of our attack cards in our top 6. Which is a huge waste. I was hoping to get him down a little farther. We will play Ghostly Armor just because we don't want to lose it yet. Then we'll play Rampage and we'll play Cleave. Now, some might argue that the Cultist is the bigger problem, but if you can take him out decently quickly, he'll never really be a threat. So, like, I could take him out this turn. Yeah, there we go. He's not a threat. Plus, the lower health means he's never really a problem. But the hexes and the debuffs from this guy are much more irritating. And then I will drink that just to gain a little more defense. And you'll see what I mean. Because he broke through it, plated armor goes down by 1. We'll use this. We'll forcibly exhaust one of those early, just to draw more. And then for each one of those, we'll do extra damage. It's funny how completely countered he gets. We will defend, we will block, we will strike for 4 damage. There we go. In this situation, I don't really want any of these. I don't want Flex. Even though it's a very good card, I do not want it in this situation. So I lied, we actually will be resting up here as well, just because he did more damage than I expected. Oh, and we received the bronze skills, so this will do essentially what the Guardian mode of, or what the defensive stance of the Guardian was doing, and every time we get attacked, they will take, or the enemy attacking us will take 3 damage. Ah, this is a very good enemy to fight. We have very wide damage dealing capabilities. Ghostly Armor, and then we will focus down the Gremlin Leader, because the Gremlin Leader will continue to summon more and more gremlins if left alive, and if we just target his smaller minions, he will just continue to summon them and then buff them. So, not exactly what we want. We're going to use Burning Pact on the strike there. That way we get Juggernaut. Now, this turn is going to hurt, but it's not terrible. And see, when it's an unknown, it's typically that he will summon more people. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's about to do. We will put the defend back on top. And then we will use the Thunderclap there to do extra damage to the Gremlin Leader. And see, this is why Ice Cream would be very good, because it does allow for us to keep that 1 energy, so instead of 4, we'd have 5 on this turn. But we don't have it, so I'll stop talking about it. We'll use Ghostly Armor, then we'll use Burning Pact, then we'll use this, target him directly. These two aren't really threats. I mean, this one's the Shield Gremlin is slightly irritating just because he'll keep blocking the Gremlin Leader. But we can take both of those out, and then defend twice, and attack. If I had attacked twice and then defended once, I might have taken him out, but he died on his first hit, so he didn't attack 3 times. Ooh, Metallicize works very well with this build. Now, the only issue with having so many power cards, and I guess it's not that many, but I will read through this because we'll just heal at the next... Oh, my apologies. I'm so used to just clicking through these so quickly. Essentially, these books give you drops on the lore of the game. Sorry about that. These books give you drops on the lore of the game, and they tell you about like the story of what the Spire is doing, and reading these actually has an impact on the character. So I'm going to obtain the book, which you get a different book-based artifact whenever you read one of these. So sometimes it'll be Nilri's Codex, sometimes it'll be the Necronomicon, or I think there's another one. I think there might be Niao's Codex as well, but I'm not sure. So at the end of each turn, I will now get a card selection screen, and I will have the option to add a card to my deck if I want to. I can also skip it. So I'm going to take the book because we already sacrificed the health for it. And then I'm going to use the campfire to rest and recover the health we just sacrificed. And then it's the champion that we're fighting. Ooh, I will remove a card here. Yes, I will remove another strike. And then here, is there anything of interest? I wish we could afford Mayhem. That would be a great card to have. I will, however, I also wish we could have the Frozen Egg. I will, however, take another Feel No Pain, and really, really hope we're not fighting the boss I think we're fighting. Or that would be powering up whenever I use a power card. Because it's a champion and I'm not very, very good at his fight, I will heal up here. We do have very good items for this fight, so I will hope that I can play this well. Feel No Pain, and then Ghostly Armor. And then I suppose I will use that once. We will take Seeing Red just because it's another exhaust card and it's very, very useful. Like I said, you don't want to thicken your deck up too much. I kind of try to strike that balance. And then we can use Feel No Pain. We can Thunderclap. We can use Warcry. And put Cleave back on top. The only reason I used Warcry there was for the extra defense. I'm not going to take any of those. Fire Breathing can be very good, but not in this deck. I guess I do have 2 status cards, but I'm hoping to get rid of them with Burning Pact, so it just... none of it really works well. We'll use Cleave for 22 damage. And then we'll use Seeing Red, even though it is a waste, but I want the extra defense, like I stated. Reckless Charge is actually very useful here because it will keep giving us those dazed cards, which we can then trade to Burning Pact, or that will just go away on their own for extra damage, or extra block, which is also extra damage. So you will see me using my blocks whenever I have extra energy. We will be skipping those because none of those were very useful. One was just a very high damage, high cost. One was Perfected Strike, which I already explained the gimmick on. And that middle one I can't remember, but it wasn't very useful. We will be exhausting the wound just to get rid of it. Oh, and there's the second one. Ghostly Armor to defend ourselves. Defend to defend ourselves. Rampage to do extra damage. Another Ghostly Armor is not a bad idea. Just because, like I said, I can always leave it, not play it, and it'll just go away. Um, but it's better to have something to play than not. It's a little too late to take another Rampage. Double tap is very useful because it actually does stack on Rampage, so Rampage would go up and then up again. So actually, yeah, why don't we take double tap? So we actually got him to phase 2. If you're playing this on a different build, all of his debuffs will go away if he's on phase 2. So if he has poison stacked up, or if he has weakness or vulnerability, all of that goes away as soon as he hits phase 2. He powers up, clears himself of it, and gives himself Metallicize, which at the end of his turn he will gain 5 block. Yeah. So every turn, even if he's not defending, he will now have 5 block. And I'll add a Metallicize to my deck, sure. Disarm is also a very useful one that I saw there, but Metallicize is just more defense at the end of my turns without me playing it. We will use double tap and then Rampage. Oh. I really wish I had used Reckless Charge first, or that I had looked at the pendant. Can't really exhaust anything, so we won't. He's using a debuff on us, which will make us weak and vulnerable. We're also frail at the moment, so we take 50% more damage, we deal 50% less damage. Yeah, we deal 50% less damage, or 25% less damage, and we get 25% less from any cards with block. But the turns play out very similarly. We'll take another Warcry. Essentially, with Nilreed's Codex, you will see me add cards that won't really add to the deck overall. Just so that we have the extra defense if needed. Actually, this is a very good spot to use Burning Pact on a defend, which we will then use to... Nope, we'll use all 3 of these because there's no point to using Rampage or double tap in this situation. Now we will skip. Dual Wield is a very useful card, depending on your build. I just noticed that that one was up there. I don't think it really works with what I'm doing at the moment. It would have worked if I had it earlier in the game, though. We're going to play this, and then we'll use Warcry to put Cleave back on top of the deck. Now, I know I could have done more damage with Cleave because he had the vulnerable trait, but we will actually take Blood for Blood because it is almost free, and it will be free at the end of this turn. Now that vulnerable has weared off, we aren't taking extra damage, which is nice. We will use Burning Pact on a defend again. And of course, we drew the wound. I will double play Cleave, and then play 1 Reckless Charge and 1 Defend, or 1 Ghostly Armor, I suppose. And then we'll take another Blood for Blood. Blood for the Blood God. Witness me, Bloodbag. These cards start at a 4 cost for energy, and then as you take more damage, will cost less. So they're very good in self-damage builds, but they're also just good in general, especially in later attacks like this. So this is what I mean by we won't play around it, but it's a nice bonus. This card originally does 40 damage. This card now does 80 damage. 80 damage is over a quarter of this boss's health, I believe. Not sure if I did my... No, not a quarter. A quarter would be 105. But 80 damage is almost a quarter of that boss's health. Ah. So we have two very good options here. Barricade, which we do play a lot of defense because of Juggernaut. So Barricade is a very good option. We also have Berserk, which would give us more energy. But I'm noticing we don't always have the cards to play all of our energy. So I'm thinking we take Barricade, and that way we have lots and lots of blocks, especially on later fights like this. Oh, this game. Likes to give me all the good options. So, Runic Cube, very simple, very powerful. Whenever you lose HP, draw a card. Now, I'm not playing a self-sacrifice build, so this one kind of loses out on some of its potency. Calling Bell. The unique curse can't be removed from your deck and cannot be played. It can, however, be exhausted during a fight, which we have the Burning Pact to do. So, grabbing this, you would gain 3 additional relics. Burning Blood. Black Blood replaces Burning Blood, which at the end of the combat heals 6 HP, for at the end of the combat heal 12 HP. Also very, very good. Now I am going to take the Calling Bell, and that's because I am a sucker for relics. If I can fill up this whole bar, I will always fill up this bar. But yes, this is the Curse of the Bell. Cannot be removed from your deck, however it can be exhausted. So, we got the Ancient Tea set, which whenever you enter a rest site, start the next combat with extra energy. The Toxic Egg, so any skills that we get the chance to add from any combat encounters or the shop will be automatically upgraded, so they will automatically be in their better form. And the Gambling Chip. Now, this one is underused, but very, very powerful. So, when you start a fight, the Gambling Chip allows you to discard any cards that are in your starting hand. So if you don't like your opening hand, you can just kind of set it aside, draw a new number of those cards. If you like certain cards in your hand but want certain others to kickstart your build, you can do that too. And of course. So this is the boss I was scared we were fighting. I can't remember its name right now, but it's essentially, it's the god that those cultists in the bird masks worship. So, with this guy, his one trait, before he hits phase 2, any powers you play in phase 1 will give him extra strength for the whole fight. So, we do have quite a few powers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total powers. But I think our build is good enough to deal with it. That being said, we are going to take the route with the most campfires, which looks like it is this route here, which has 4 of them. So we will be taking this route. Okay, brand new enemies, brand new level of the Spire. I haven't really been talking much about the Spire, but I do particularly love this level because it shows you how alive and twisted the Spire actually can get. We'll use Barricade, and we'll save our Dexterity Potion. We'll just use that here. It's a shame we drew Rampage there. No, it's whenever you add a skill to your deck, so it doesn't count for Nilry's Codex. That's a sad interaction. I wish it did count. Now, you might be questioning why I only played the 1 defense card there, and that's just because it wasn't the best option to play more than that. But in this situation, where I will add another Thunderclap, yeah. In this situation, where I will have extra defense left over, you'll get to see the effect of Barricade, which is a very powerful skill, especially for longer fights. So you'll see here that I still have 2 defense left. And it's especially good when paired with cards like Metallicize. I'm also going to defend first. That way I don't take damage playing this Thunderclap. And then I will play another Thunderclap. Now, he's going to explode, dealing 30 damage, so this is gonna hurt. We are not gonna add any of those. Oh, such a shame. He was 1 damage off. I didn't even use the gambling chip on my first turn after hyping it up so much. There we go. Feel No Pain just kicked in a little more. And we will not use Cleave because that would deal 7 damage. Anger. Anger is a very useful card, and I was actually hoping we'd come across it a little sooner. But we didn't, and that's okay. So Anger, whenever you play it, you add a copy to your discard pile. So when you play it the first time, you get a second one. When you play both of them, you now have 4. So it's very good, especially in conjunction with something like Burning Pact, where you can trade cards for extra draw. Because it just allows for an infinite engine that will keep allowing you to draw more cards, and then that's why I really want a second Burning Pact if I could have it. That way I can draw into Burning Pact and then hopefully just keep doing that. But, I mean, you don't always win, right? But yeah, you can see, or actually you can't because the fight ended, so. In this build, I will add True Grit because it comes in upgraded. It is almost as good as a Ghostly Armor, which I haven't upgraded any of those, but their upgrade isn't very good because it allows the exhaust to be targeted, so I am allowed to choose what I want to exhaust. Now I'm going to take the special relic here because I'm not sure what it is. Oh, it's a very good relic. So you decide to see if you can find anything of use. After uncovering tarps, you look through boxes and checking nooks and crannies. You find a dust-covered relic. Taking the relic, you can't shake a sudden feeling of sharp pain as you exit the hut. Maybe you disturb some sort of spirit. However, we got the Warped Tongs relic, which at the start of your turn, upgrade a random card in your hand for the rest of combat. I am sorry that I have not been reading these encounters as much as I said I would. It kind of just slipped my mind. I kind of fell into just playing and explaining. We'll discard this. We'll discard... Wait, no. We can use Burning Pact to call on Curse of the Bell. So we'll discard Rampage and see what comes up. So we will discard, or we'll use Burning Pact to get rid of Curse of the Bell. And then... Such a shame. I'll put... In this situation, I'm going to play Feel No Pain and Metallicize. And this might be a bad idea, but I'm going to use that on Barricade. Now, Entrench is a skill that works very, very well with Barricade. I mean, you Barricade and then you Entrench when you have 30 block, and suddenly you have 60 block that doesn't go away, and you can just keep adding and adding. Now, I don't have Barricade for this specific fight, and that is because I opted not to take it, because I feel like I have the block that I need to defend against this guy, but he does get stronger very quickly, so you do need to be very careful about that, because if you leave him alive for too many turns, he will just be a pain. He's already hitting pretty hard. Now, this is probably the floor I struggle with most, so this is probably why I opted to pick the route with the most campfires. Clash is also a very good card. I don't think it works well with this build because you need no skills, no statuses. It needs to be just attacks in your hand. I'm going to use this, and then I will use True Grit on the strike that I had, and then I will use that strike. Okay. I'm going to drink this immediately. I'm not going to take any of these. They don't suit me. Ooh. Okay, this is a fun enemy. Not necessarily a good enemy to face, but a fun enemy. I'm just gonna get rid of this whole hand. It's not very good for this enemy. So this enemy is another one of those damage checks that I was talking about. So every time you hit him, he takes damage, obviously, and that damage gives him the shackled effect, which means he will lose the number of strength equal to the damage. So like if you do 60 damage, he loses 60 strength, which is the only way to really survive him. You need to be able to do enough damage and last 5 turns or kill him, which killing him is easier said than done. I believe there's actually a Steam achievement for it, and I do not have that at the moment. So like in this situation here, he needs 40 damage, and at most, I can do 7. So instead, I'm just gonna defend. I do really wish that that damage from him getting hit would go through after the fact, but it doesn't, so that's life. I took a lot of Juggernauts, so I don't feel bad about doing that. But it's almost always better to just straight up do damage to this guy, because it will cause less attack to come through. Am I glad that there's a campfire coming up? Very. Am I glad there's an elite coming up? Ask me after we fight the elite. Rampage. And then, so in this situation, the best option is to play this defend and play this strike, because it will cause him to lose 6 strength instead of blocking 5 damage. So I'm essentially blocking 6 damage instead of 5. Now if I could, an Impervious would be great to add to this deck now. Now I just need to survive this, I just need to survive this 70 damage attack. Which, again, easier said than done, but I guess we'll put Curse of the Bell on top, and then... Oh, I think we lose here. We don't have the health for that. Am I wrong, or do I die here? I'm wrong because of Metallicize. Oh, wow. I don't know how much farther we're gonna get, but that was certainly interesting. Let's see. Um, let's take the boot. So the boot, also a very powerful card. Um, whenever you would deal 4 or less unblocked attack damage, increase it to 5. Is it very good in this build? I don't really think so, but I'm not entirely sure. So you'll see that the Ancient Tea set is actually flashing because going into this fight, we'll start with, what is this, 6 total damage, or total energy? I will get rid of those 2. I am glad that the head counts down very, very slowly. I'm not glad to have that pain. I would very much like to remove it. Probably should have spent my my money to remove it instead of playing. Oh, that was his attack. Okay. Wound will go away. We'll use... So, the gimmick on the head is that every time you play a card, he receives 10% more damage from attacks. So if you play, say, 10 cards, he'll receive 100% more damage. And it is actually very, very good to get through him that way. Like, in this case, I'm going to not play Barricade, which I really should have, because that would have defended me from all of the damage he was going to do. But instead, I will play Thunderclap, and then I will play Rampage, which is already dealing increased damage on top of the Vulnerable. And then, I suppose, since we've already lost damage enough times for Blood, we'll take Blood for Blood. Now, he still has 293 health. We don't still want to be here when he gets down to 0 because he starts hitting like a truck. I will admit, right now he's not hitting super hard, but we want to get past him a lot faster because he's on 2 now. And he gives you the Weakened, which does 25% less damage. We've seen that before. We're not super scared of that. We'll use True Grit and get rid of the wound. And we used Barricade there. That way we are keeping our defense now, which we will need because he will start hitting very hard. So he will weaken us again, and then he does a 30 damage attack here. We will use Ghostly Armor, and then Burning Pact to get rid of a strike. Really hate this card. Because it does direct HP, so it's not even something I can defend against, it's just I take 1 damage. Like, it's good in self-sacrifice builds, sure. Or builds where whenever you lose HP, do something, but I guess those are technically self-sacrifice builds. But in this build, it's just irritating. So the lowest damage here is Cleave, so we'll do that one first. And then we'll do Blood for Blood. I didn't realize I only had the 1 energy, or I would have done Rampage. But we have the defense to take this attack. And now he'll hit with 35. So we will do Ghostly Armor, True Grit on the strike, defend, and then Thunderclap. None of those. You know, for the Ironclad, I'm playing this as a very defensive build, and I actually have no issue with that. We will get rid of Pain here, thankfully. Great. We will play our defense in order to climb our defense up a bit. Now, I'm going to play Rampage, and I'm going to play Blood for Blood. Okay then. This will do 16 damage, and then I have Pen Nip on my next turn. So on my next turn, I should be able to take him out. Was this closer than I wanted it to be? Yes. Is it because of the Transient? Also yes. True Grit is very useful in this build, I will be honest. Ornamental Fan. Sorry, I didn't read it earlier. Every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 4 block. This is also very useful. I know I keep saying things are super useful, but honestly, they are. I am not going to take another Metallicize as much as I want it, because we are fighting the boss that punishes power builds. Now, you do actually get to keep Pen Nib up until your new fights, which is a really nice thing. And I now get to start with a power card. Okay. So, the power card that I want to start with most is Juggernaut. That way, all of my defense will do damage. I'm going to rest again, which will bring me up to 92, or 75 out of 92, because all of these enemies hit so hard. I don't like it, but I mean, what can you do? It's the game, right? I played that in the right order, because it really didn't matter what order I played that in. I thought it mattered. Ooh, Demon Form. I really hope that I will be able to pull either Dark Embrace or Demon Form in the final fight, because Dark Embrace in this build would go so well, because it will give me extra draws every time I use Burning Pact, every time I get rid of a card. Like by using Warcry, I can now draw another card just by having that there. I don't need a second one though, so I'm not going to take any of those. I will take 3 damage here, but I'm not super scared about that. Use True Grit immediately to get rid of pain, and then use Ghostly Armor, use Rampage, and use a Defend. Always try to build up your defense, especially if you have Barricade, when they are doing nothing. When you don't have Barricade, you can't really build up defense, so there's no point. But when they are doing something like buffing themselves, you just want to build up your defense as much as you can, if you have the cards for it. Burning Pact to exhaust that. Should have used Feel No Pain first, but then we can use True Grit on the wound. And I feel like this build is really coming together now. We have 52 block. I will take another Metallicize just for this fight, because why not? 52 block, we have a total of, what is that, 13 cards. Metallicize, Rampage, Defend, Strike. I highly doubt anybody's gonna watch to this point in the video, but I apologize if me just reading the names of the cards is slightly irritating. I feel like I've explained them all pretty well, and I will not exactly sure what I could do. I mean, I guess I could like tell you guys a story. I don't really have any stories. I mean, I was out for a long time today because I got I went to an interview and then went to pick up a game. It's a game for my Switch, so I can't record it. But once I picked up the game, I headed home. And as I was on my way home, I got a call back from the recruitment agency I used to find me a job that said, hey, you got the job. So after months and months and months of looking for something and not finding anything, suddenly I was told, oh hey, we got an achievement. Have 99 or more block during a single combat. We got a Steam achievement, guys. After months and months and months of not finding anything and being told that, oh, you just have to keep looking, oh, you're not going to find anything if you don't put yourself out there, and just basically being told that I wasn't doing enough, I finally got something just as my family's planning to leave town. So it's I'm gonna fight the spheres because I'm in a good space and there's a campfire on my next node. So yeah, after months and months and months of looking for stuff, or looking for a job and not finding a job, it finally came to a head tonight, and I finally have something, but there's no guarantee that, oh right, I forgot, the tongs upgrade a random card in my hand for the rest of combat. That's why my entire hand looked like it was upgraded all the time. Yeah, after months of not finding any jobs, I finally got one, and now I need to worry if my family is going to be leaving the town that I just got a new job in, which means I wouldn't have anywhere to stay. So now I'm frantically looking for places to stay. I'm looking for things I can do in the meantime. I'm looking for options that I can take if things don't work out at this job. And it's hectic, guys. I'll admit, it's hectic. And it's certainly called into question whether or not I will have the time to record videos like this for you, especially longer form ones like this. But I really enjoy doing this and I don't want to stop. So I'm gonna have to find that balance, but I think I'll have enough time. Wow, this is a dead draw of a hand. Jesus. I think I'll have enough time to record for you guys, but I don't know that I will always have a daily upload, so I might have to go, at least until I figure out a better balance for all of this stuff, I might have to step away from YouTube for a bit and get all that sorted out, because if I can get all that sorted out, then, like, yeah, there's no issue, but until all of that's sorted out, I'm kind of doing 100 billion different things at once, right? And one guy can only do so much. So, I want to. I really do. Like, trust me, if I could make a living doing this, which I guess is the goal, but, yeah, if I could make a living doing this, I'd love to. Oh. Well, here ends our first run of Slay. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't. Metallicized saves us again. Ooh, Tungsten Rod. Very simple, very powerful. Whenever you would lose HP, lose one less. So whenever anything does damage to me, like those burn cards, like that pain, I take one less damage. So pain won't affect me anymore. So now it's just a dead draw in my hand, instead of just being an annoying dead draw. I guess I said anger would actually be pretty good in this. No, double tap all the way. Okay, we are going to rest because we need to. And then this one, because it leads to more options. Damn it, we picked the wrong one. Okay, this time make sure we take out the exploder within the first 3 turns, and there shouldn't be any problems. You know what? We've saved that potion through this entire lair. We're gonna see if we can save it just a little bit farther. We will be resting at the next thing, by the way, but you can see Tungsten Rod work here. So he was doing 11 damage, and because of Tungsten Rod, we only took 1. So if I block 8 damage, and he's supposed to do 1, I'll take no damage. But then I'll take 7 or 6 damage from this guy. So, not necessarily the best option there, but not a bad one, for sure. Ghostly Armor. My next 2 attacks are played twice. I only have 1 attack, so only 1 attack is going to get played twice. And I don't want to waste it on this guy. But I'm going to. Because looking at my other options, like I could have taken one of these guys out, but their exhausts actually help me. Like their dazed cards, they actually help me. And I didn't want to attack him twice because extra damage. So let's use Metallicize, and then we'll use Rampage on you. And then this will do 4 damage. Yeah. We'll skip adding a card. And then we have 18 block for our next turn. Like, Daze actually helps. But see, you can see the Tungsten Rod working there against the pain. So whenever I play a card, I'm supposed to lose 1 health, but Tungsten Rod makes it 0. So, very, very useful skill. Colorless Potion is very nice. Apply 5 weak and vulnerable to all enemies. Exhaust. It costs too much, so I'm not going to take it. Dropkick could be very good. But I think I only have Thunderclap for applying vulnerable. Yeah, and I only have 1 of those at that, so... Okay. Rest, and we are going in to the final fight with 63 health. And a Dexterity Potion, and a random Colorless Potion. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is the Awakened one, or something like that. Okay, so this is actually a very, very good opening hand. The only sad part about it, we don't have Juggernaut. But, anyway. So, the Awakened one. When he gets down to 0 HP, he'll have another phase, but until we get there, he has the Curiosity effect applied to him. So whenever I play a power card, which is these ones with the circular borders, he will gain 1 strength. So as soon as I play this and Metallicize, he'll do 22 damage instead of 20. But I have lots of defense cards. We're not going to take Inflame. I will take Intimidate, though. Just because 1 week at a moment of your choosing is very, very useful. And it's free. So, why not? Because it won't impact the deck at all. So, there's really no reason not to. And it even got upgraded, so it's 2 week now. Then we'll use Rampage on him, and we'll use Cleave on everybody. Skip. Although Battle Trance could have been pretty good. We don't really draw cards all that often, so no reason why Battle Trance couldn't be good. Oh yeah, he also regenerates 10 HP per turn. Yeah, not cheating at all. I'm going to add Dark Shackles here, just so I can make him do no damage. Then I'm going to give myself a Barricade. And then I'm going to Feel No Pain and use Warcry. I'm going to put Thunderclap back on top. And I'm going to hope that that is a decent turn. That'll be 4 damage, and then he'll just take a bunch of damage because I lowered his strength. Okay. Now, we are going to use double tap and then play Thunderclap twice. And then we are going to hope that it does exactly that. Oh, oops. I wanted to play my strike, but I suppose extra defense is never a bad thing. What is it? The best offense is a good defense? Or is the best defense a good offense? I can never remember. But in this situation, the best thing to do is just keep chipping away at his health. I will take an entrench for later, because if I can get that off when I have a decent amount of block, like right now I have 0, but if I can get that off when I have like 20, that's a good thing. Or 29. That's exactly what I wanted. Look at that, 58. It's enough to block 1 attack. I'm kidding. It'll block more than 44, but it's just kind of funny that he's doing 44 damage on this turn. But Entrench is now in my deck, so I'll keep drawing it. Let's see. If I use Shrug It Off, I can then use Burning Pact on the Pain. And then I can keep defending. This is a bit of a slow play for this boss, and it's very different, even for me, but I just know that Entrench is coming, and I want to have, like, hundreds of block. Like, look at this. I can use Rampage, then Ghostly Armor, then Defend, then Entrench. It's 114 block there. Like, and this will carry over between his phases, so this is really just preparation. I think this build could go all the way to the true final boss, but we won't have that unlocked for at least 3 runs. So, again, Defend, Entrench, double tap, cleave. And every time we draw Entrench right after we drew Entrench, like, that'll keep doubling. So, that's useful. And we're getting to the point where, like, adding cards like Pommel Strike isn't a bad idea, because it gives us extra draw. And our deck is getting thin because we've exhausted so many things. So, I play my Ghostly Armor, I Shrug It Off, I get a Pommel Strike to draw another card, and I get a Burning Pact to get rid of this strike that I'm not going to use. And I have 14 total cards. Like, I will take Battle Trance just because it's useful. And if I don't want it at some point, I just get rid of it. Like, so yeah, I'll play Pommel Strike, which gives me Entrench, which I'll play Entrench, then I'll play Battle Trance. So Shrug It Off is useless, essentially, it'll just give me 10 more block. But I will play Thunderclap, and then I'll Rampage. And then I guess, yeah, I'll defend for 10 more block, and I'll add a Seeing Red. I have 336 block. That's 336 effective health. We'll use Seeing Red, and then use Burning Pact on a defend. We will use True Grit on a defend, I guess. We'll use Pommel Strike. We'll use Thunderclap. We'll use Cleave. We'll use Ghostly Armor. I don't know what he can really do at this point. His abilities don't really seem to be able to reach me, so we're just gonna use double tap into a reckless charge and a rampage, and then shrug it off and entrench. And then I guess play this, which just gives us more defense at this point. Oh, and look, Dark Embrace. A little late, but I mean, can always join the party. Oh, whenever ethereal, or whenever this card is drawn, lose 1 energy. So this is a void card. It just draws away your energy. It's nothing major. And then it goes away after doing it the first time. It's entrenching it. Oh, and I got another Steam achievement. Have 99 or 999 block during one combat. Yeah, have 999 block during combat. So that is apparently the max number of block. You won't go past 1,000 block. But even so, I'm easily blocking this guy's heaviest hits, and I'm not scared in the slightest. Let's use double tap, use rampage, and he's gone. So that was a very good build. We did have a scary moment there with the transient, but let's attack the heart here. And our score was 639. Not great, not great. So yeah, that is actually adding to my total from my other save file, but we can kind of ignore that. I'm not going to keep a running tally of how much we've dealt specifically. If you guys want to do that in the comment, it's great. But yeah, there we go. That is the first Ironclad run. And those were the unlocks. I'm not going to read them out because we'll encounter them. This is the new character. We will likely be playing as her in the next run. This is the Silent, and I will explain all of her stuff in the next video. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see all of you techies. Oh, yeah, this is to unlock the true ending. But as I was saying, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please remember to hit the like, comments, the like button, the subscribe button if you want more of my content, the notification bell to be notified about my content, and please leave a comment because all of that stuff helps boost the algorithm. Alright, all of that being said, and enough shilling. Bye techies, hope you guys have a great day. It's Dan the Tech Guy signing off.